I'm Nick Gazzard. I'm CEO of Incept. Is it time for a wake-up call in UK logistics? Yes, absolutely it is. We have a situation where potentially 800,000 people will die between now and when the ban on internal combustion engines comes in cities. We're losing competitive advantage against other countries at a time when global logistics is going to quadruple, quintuple in size. We're losing share. And given that Brexit is happening, we need to be extremely competitive. In addition, we've got issues with infrastructure where we've got high levels of congestion, the transport modes don't connect to each other, and it adds cost to UK industry. And as an example, we've waited 40 years for a decision to expand Heathrow capacity. The funding of that is being left to a private company that's going to have to gear itself incredibly to do that. So there are a number of questions where it's taken us so much longer than other people to make these decisions, and we can't wait anymore. The world isn't waiting for us. We have to start making faster decisions because we're going to start killing more people than we need to. We're going to start costing this country a lot more money because every good that we buy and sell is touched by logistics. If we're exporting it and we do it inefficiently, we add cost to it. When we're importing it, the consumer pays more for it. And we can't afford that in the modern world. We have to reduce our costs. And we're not doing that as well as our peers. And we're running out of time. I think in the UK, the fundamentals behind the problems in freight and logistics really revolve around sclerotic decision-making and chronic underfunding. We've got a situation where this is one of the most intensive freight systems in the world. You know, we have a lot of people, a lot of goods moving in a very small space. And we need to make decisions about how to tie that infrastructure together, to make rail join up with road, to connect the ports to cities. We are very slow in making those decisions, if we make them at all. And I think the difficulty is governments are changing every 5 years. Ministers are changing every 1.5 years. We've had 21 in 40 years. It's not time to get on top of a brief this complex. The chronic levels of underfunding mean we don't invest sufficiently in our infrastructure. The taxation on roads and fuel and things like that aren't hypothecated back into transport, and our spend is incredibly small. So we have this situation where I think a lot of people describe logistics and freight as a Cinderella sector, a Cinderella industry, and I absolutely don't agree because Cinderella got to go to the ball. We don't. I've been watching these policies evolve, these problems roll on for 30 years, and they've been going longer than that. So I think we absolutely need to deal with and make significant decisions and get on top of the funding, get on top of the integration. Otherwise, we are going to lose out. These problems and issues have been building for a long time, and our existing model clearly isn't fit for purpose. Because we're less efficient than we could be, our costs are beginning to rise as a percentage of GDP. They have been falling, whereas the US is actually doing the opposite. Their costs are falling. So we need to do something. We have got Brexit coming. It will disrupt things. But also in the bigger picture, the changes in global economics now and free trade are doing things like consolidating shipping lines. They're massive changes which we must get onto now because they won't be there in 5 years' time. The UN's just told us that if we don't hit our climate change targets by 2030, we'll never hit them. And the latest IPCC report sitting there saying that we have to slash our emissions by a factor of 5 in 11 years. We are in a situation environmentally that's critical. Commercially, it's critical. And the build-up has been so long now that we cannot defer it anymore. There are so many issues. So we really have to do something. And there are a bunch of business models, things like the physical internet, exploiting things like the Internet of Things, models about going back to human systems, porterage, bicycles for delivery. There's a zillion very good business models that are actually proven, not just academically, but in fact, that we could deploy and benefit from, both environmentally and economically. So to me, there's ample evidence that there are way better ways of doing things, and we we have an imperative in that we are losing out badly and we're losing out structurally. And we're getting to a point now where we will not be able to fix those problems unless we do something about it now.